The city bus roared down the crowded street, its brakes squealing as it stopped at every corner. Afternoon sunlight poured through dusty windows, glinting off steel handrails and bouncing across the faces of tired commuters. Among them was Maya Thompson, a 15-year-old black girl with a backpack nearly as heavy as her spirit. Maya had just finished another long day at school, a day filled with small humiliations she had learned to hide behind a soft smile. The stares when she raised her hand in class, the whispers when she walked past the popular girls, the pitying look from teachers who thought she didn't have much of a chance. But Maya never let it show. Her grandmother's words echoed in her mind every day. Baby, you don't have to be rich to have grace. The world might look down on you, but you lift others up. That's your power. So even when life felt unfair, Maya chose kindness. She stepped onto the bus that day with her earphones tangled, her hair tied in 2 neat braids. The air inside smelled of rain, sweat, and faint traces of perfume. The seats were almost full, office workers staring at phones, students scrolling through TikTok, an exhausted mother with a crying baby. Maya found one seat near the back and sat down quietly, clutching her backpack to her chest. Outside, dark clouds began to gather. It looked like it might rain soon. Maya glanced at her reflection in the window, tired eyes, but hopeful. She was thinking about how she'd surprise her grandma tonight with the small flower she'd picked on her walk home. At the next stop, the bus doors hissed open. A fragile, elderly white woman stepped aboard, leaning heavily on a cane. Her grey hair was tied into a bun, and her wrinkled hands shook as she gripped the pole for balance. She wore a soft pink coat, the kind that had seen better days. The woman looked around for a seat, but nobody moved. A man in a business suit pretended to be asleep. A teenage boy turned up his music. Even the bus driver didn't notice. The woman's knees trembled as the bus lurched forward again. Without hesitation, Maya stood up. "Ma'am, please take my seat," she said gently, smiling. The old woman looked up, surprised. Her eyes were pale blue, and they softened immediately at the sight of Maya's face. "Oh dear, are you sure?" she asked weakly. "Yes, of course," Maya said, stepping aside. "You should sit." "I'm fine standing." The woman smiled gratefully. "You're an angel, child." Maya held onto the rail as the bus continued to move. She didn't think much of it. It just felt like the right thing to do. Her grandmother had raised her that way. You see someone in need, you help. Not for attention, but because you're human. But the rest of the passengers noticed. A few people glanced up awkwardly, maybe feeling guilty. One man, sitting a few rows ahead, pulled out his phone and started recording the moment. Maya didn't notice him. She was just looking out the window, daydreaming, humming quietly to herself. The woman sitting in her seat kept looking up at her, eyes full of something Maya couldn't quite place, not just gratitude, but maybe recognition. "Thank you again, sweetheart," she said softly. "You're welcome, ma'am," ma'am replied. "You remind me of my grandma." The old woman chuckled faintly. Then she must have raised a good girl. The bus rocked side to side as it rolled through the next few blocks. The city outside was alive. People hurrying home, cars honking, rain starting to drizzle. Inside, things were calm again. Maya smiled politely when the woman turned to look at her again, though something in the woman's expression seemed almost emotional. Then, suddenly, it happened. The bus hit a bump, and the old woman gasped, clutching her chest. Her cane slipped from her grasp and clattered to the floor. "Ma'am!" Maya shouted, rushing forward. The woman's breathing was uneven. Her face turned pale. People froze. "Somebody help. She's not feeling well," Maya cried out. The bus driver looked back in panic and pulled the vehicle to the side of the road. No one else moved. The man filming earlier stood up, still recording, but unsure what to do. Maya didn't hesitate. She knelt down beside the woman, placing a hand on her shoulder. "It's okay, ma'am. Just breathe." "You'll be okay," Maya whispered, her voice trembling. The woman opened her eyes slightly. You're so kind," she whispered weakly. "Please, someone call 911. Maya yelled again. Finally, a young woman near the front pulled out her phone and made the call. Maya remembered the few first aid lessons she'd learned at school. She gently helped the old woman recline against the seat, loosening the scarf around her neck to help her breathe better. The woman's hand gripped hers tightly. Desperate, scared, but trusting. The bus had gone silent. Every eye was on Maya. She stayed calm, whispering softly, "You're okay. You're okay. Help is coming." In that moment, it didn't matter who was rich or poor, what color anyone's skin was. There was only humanity, one soul helping another. When the ambulance finally arrived, the paramedics rushed in. Maya refused to move until she was sure the woman was safe. "Can I ride with her?" she asked. The paramedic looked at the woman. She nodded weakly. "Please, let her come," she whispered. So Maya climbed into the ambulance, still holding her hand. As the siren wailed and the city blurred past, she kept whispering reassurance. "You'll be okay, ma'am. Just breathe. You're strong." The cameras on the bus kept rolling as it drove away. The man who had filmed the first act of kindness uploaded it online later that night. He titled it, "Black Girl Gives Up Her Seat, Then Saves a Stranger's Life." By the next morning, millions had seen it. The comments poured in, people all over the world praising her compassion, her bravery, her grace. But Maya didn't even know yet. She was sitting in the hospital waiting room, exhausted but peaceful, hoping the woman she helped was okay. And that's where everything would change, because the old woman she saved wasn't just anyone. And what she revealed to Maya later would shock everyone who saw the video. The hospital smelled faintly of antiseptic and coffee. The white walls felt endless, like time itself had slowed. Maya sat quietly in a corner of the waiting room, her school bag still on her lap, her hands trembling just a little. The last few hours had blurred together. The bus, the sirens, the kind old woman clutching her hand. It all felt like a dream. She had never even gotten the woman's name. After a few minutes, a nurse approached her. "Sweetheart, the lady you came with is stable now. You really helped her. She asked to see you." Maya stood instantly, relief flooding her chest. "She's okay?" The nurse smiled. "Thanks to you, yes." Maya followed her down the hallway to a private room. The old woman was lying in bed, pale but smiling. Her grey hair framed her face softly, and her blue eyes looked brighter now, clearer, filled with warmth. "Come closer, dear," the woman whispered. Maya sat beside her bed, still unsure if she should be there. "I'm glad you're feeling better, ma'am." "I was so worried." The woman smiled faintly. "You remind me of someone I once knew. Her name was Lillian." Maya blinked. "That's my grandma's name," she said softly. The woman's eyes widened. "Your grandmother's name is Lillian Thompson?" Maya nodded, surprised. "Yes, you know her." The woman's lips trembled slightly. She turned her head, staring at the ceiling for a moment as if searching her memory. "Years ago," she said slowly, "there was a young woman who worked for my family. She was a kind soul, patient, strong. She would bring her little girl to my home sometimes while she cleaned. That little girl's name was Maya." Maya's eyes went wide. "That was my mum," she whispered. The woman nodded weakly, tears forming at the corners of her eyes. "I didn't realize it until now. You have her eyes." Her smile. Maya felt a lump rise in her throat. My grandma worked for you." "Yes," the woman said. "And it wasn't always kind to her. I was raised in a time when people saw color before they saw humanity. Your grandmother showed me grace even when I didn't deserve it." Maya didn't know what to say. She just stared speechless as the woman continued. "She used to tell me, one day, the world will treat us all the same. When kindness matters more than skin, I never forgot that. And today, when you stood up for me on that bus, it felt like her words coming to life." The woman reached out her frail hand, and Maya took it gently. The silence in the room carried generations of pain and forgiveness. Then the door opened, and a group of people entered, a doctor, a nurse, and a young woman in a suit holding a clipboard. "Mrs. Whitman," the young woman said, "the media wants a statement about what happened. The video's going viral." Maya froze. "Wait, what video?" The woman smiled faintly. "Oh, honey, you don't know, do you?" The young assistant turned her phone toward Maya. On the screen was a video thumbnail. "Teen girl gives up seat, saves woman's life." The video had over 12 million views in just a few hours. Maya's eyes widened. She watched as her own face appeared on screen, standing, offering her seat, helping the woman breathe. Strangers online were calling her the kindest girl in America. News stations were playing it everywhere. She couldn't believe it. She had just done what anyone should do. "Oh my God," Maya whispered. "I didn't mean to. I didn't want attention." Mrs. Whitman smiled softly. "And that's what makes it real. You didn't do it for a camera. You did it from your heart." A few hours later, Mrs. Whitman's daughter arrived at the hospital, a tall, elegant woman in her 40s with sharp features and expensive jewelry. She looked tired but relieved. "Mum, you scared me," she said, rushing in. Then she noticed Maya. "Who's this?" "This is Maya," Mrs. Whitman said proudly. "The girl who saved me." The daughter turned to her, offering a polite smile. "You're the one from the video. Thank you for helping my mother." Maya just nodded shyly. "I'm glad she's okay." Something flickered in the daughter's eyes, a mix of gratitude and discomfort. She recognized Maya's uniform. It was from the public school across town, one that most wealthy families avoided. "Would you like a ride home, Maya?" Mrs. Whitman asked. "It's late and it's raining again." Maya hesitated. "Oh no, I'll walk. It's fine." The daughter frowned. "Walk? In this weather? We can't let that happen." Before Maya could protest, Mrs. Whitman insisted. "Please, dear, let us do this small thing for you." So she agreed. As they rode in the daughter's sleek black car, Maya looked out at the city lights reflecting in the rain. It all felt surreal. Just yesterday, she had been invisible. Now the world was watching her without her even trying. Mrs. Whitman looked at her and said softly, "The world needs more people like you. Maya, people who remind us what kindness really looks like." Maya smiled, her heart warm. "My grandma says kindness is free, but it's the richest thing you can give." When they reached her house, Maya thanked them again. Mrs. Whitman took her hand and pressed something into it. A small silver necklace shaped like a heart. "This was my daughter's when she was your age," she said. "Now it's yours." Maya tried to refuse, but Mrs. Whitman just smiled. "Please. It'll remind you that even when the world forgets to be kind, you didn't." As the car drove away, Maya stood in the rain, holding the necklace tightly. She didn't know that the video was already on every news channel, that celebrities were tweeting about her, or that schools were using her story as a lesson in compassion. She didn't know that her life, and her grandmother's words, were about to reach millions. But the real twist was still coming.
The next morning, sunlight streamed through the thin curtains of Maya's small room. She stirred, hearing voices outside, too many of them. Then a knock rattled the door. "Maya, sweetheart." Her grandmother called, rushing in. "You need to see this." Maya blinked, rubbing her eyes. "What's wrong, Grandma?" Her grandmother opened the curtains. Outside, the street was crowded. Reporters, cameras, people holding microphones, neighbors standing in disbelief. A long black limousine gleamed under the morning sun. Maya's heart raced. "What? What's happening?" Her grandmother smiled proudly. "You've gone viral, baby. The whole world's talking about you." Maya's phone buzzed nonstop. Hundreds of messages, friend requests, comments, all filled with love and admiration. People from across the world were thanking her for her kindness. Before she could process it, there was another knock. A tall man in a suit stood at the door, flanked by two others. He smiled politely. "Good morning, Ms. Thompson. My name's Daniel Harris. I'm with the Whitman Foundation." Maya blinked. "The what?" "The Whitman Foundation," the man repeated. "Mrs. Eleanor Whitman, the lady you helped on the bus. She owns it. She'd like to meet you today if you have time." Maya and her grandmother exchanged glances. "Of course," her grandma said softly. "We'd be honored." The cameras followed them as they stepped into the limousine. Maya tried to stay calm, clutching the heart-shaped necklace Mrs. Whitman had given her. She didn't know what to expect, but she felt something big was coming. At the Whitman mansion, the car pulled up to a massive estate, all white pillars, trimmed gardens, and a long driveway lined with flowers. Maya had never seen anything like it. Mrs. Whitman waited for her at the door, now in a soft lavender dress, looking stronger but still gentle. "Maya," she said warmly, her arms open. "Come here, my dear." They hugged like old friends. For a moment, the cameras, the mansion, the attention, it all disappeared. Inside, the house was filled with family members, reporters, and photographers. The daughter from before, Angela, stepped forward, smiling nervously. "Hi, Maya. Mom's been talking about you nonstop." Maya blushed. "I just did what anyone would." Mrs. Whitman shook her head. "No, darling. You did what few would. You reminded people what it means to care." Then she looked at her assistant. "Bring it in." A woman walked in carrying a sleek folder and an envelope. Mrs. Whitman handed it to Maya. "This is for you, my dear." Maya hesitated. "What is it?" "Open it." Inside was a full scholarship letter from the Whitman Foundation. Tuition, books, and expenses covered at one of the city's best private schools. Maya's mouth fell open. I can't take this." Mrs. Whitman smiled softly. "You already earned it. This is not charity, it's gratitude. You gave me more than you'll ever know." Tears welled up in Maya's eyes. "Thank you, ma'am. I don't even know what to say." Her grandmother, standing behind her, wiped a tear from her own cheek. "You raised her right, Lillian," Mrs. Whitman said kindly, remembering the name from their past. "Your kindness lives on through her." The crowd clapped. Reporters shouted questions. Cameras flashed. But Maya's eyes stayed on the elderly woman who had once needed a seat, now giving her the world. On the video that changed lives. That evening, the Whitman Foundation posted an official video. It showed Maya's story, from the bus ride to the hospital to the scholarship. The caption read, "One act of kindness can ripple across generations." Within hours, the video went global. Teachers shared it in classrooms. Celebrities reposted it. Hashtags like Sonder Be Like Maya and Sonda Kindness is Free trended worldwide. News outlets called her the girl who stood up for humanity. But for Maya, life didn't change overnight in the way people expected. She still helped her grandma with chores, still took the same route home, still smiled at strangers. But wherever she went, people recognized her, not as a celebrity, but as a reminder. Once, when she passed a bus stop, she saw a little boy offering his seat to a tired woman. The woman smiled at him, saying, "Thank you, sweetheart." The boy grinned. "That's what Maya did." Maya stopped for a moment, smiling through tears. She didn't need money or fame. She just wanted the world to remember what her grandma always said. Kindness is the light that even rain can't wash away. At a surprise reunion. Months later, Maya's life was brighter than ever. She was excelling at her new school, making friends, and volunteering at the Whitman Foundation. One afternoon, she walked through the hospital's volunteer wing, the same one where she had first met Mrs. Whitman. The old woman sat in a wheelchair reading. When she saw Maya, her eyes lit up. "My girl," she said. "You came." Maya hugged her tightly. "Of course I did. I had to thank you again." Mrs. Whitman chuckled. "You've thanked me enough, dear. It's I who should be grateful." Just then, Angela, Mrs. Whitman's daughter, walked in carrying flowers. She smiled at Maya, this time not with hesitation, but admiration. "I want you to know something," she said softly. "Mom and we've started a new scholarship program. It's named after your grandmother, the Lillian Thompson Fund for Kindness." Maya's eyes widened. "You're serious?" "Very," Angela said. "We want to honor the women who taught us what love really looks like." Mrs. Whitman added with a smile, "The world doesn't change through anger or power. Maya, it changes through small acts of courage, just like yours." Maya hugged them both, tears glistening in her eyes. She realized then, the seat she gave up wasn't just for one woman. It was for an entire generation learning to stand up for what's right. And the full circle. Weeks later, Maya boarded a bus again. It was crowded, just like before. This time, when an elderly man stepped on, half the passengers stood up to offer their seats. The driver smiled. "Seems kindness catches on fast." Maya grinned, sitting quietly at the back, heart full. She looked out the window as raindrops slid down the glass, her reflection merging with the city lights. And somewhere deep down, she could almost hear her grandma's voice again. "See, baby? Kindness always finds its way home."